right, welcome back everybody to Spartan from the Inside. This is episode 17. And today we're going to talk to you about the stadion of all stadion events, right? This is Fenway Park with Tyler Spencer. But I guess before we get started, not a bad backdrop if you ask me, right? I'm like chilling. Like I've got, if you look really close over here, you can see that's Mutterhorn.
That's awesome.
Off over there. So yeah,
I saw the pictures that Haas shared with the helicopters the other day.
Dude, he flew that Apache. He flew that Apache right down around freaking Mutterhorn, dude. It was perfect timing. So yeah, Haas got some great photos. So I'm in Colorado Springs at Fort Carson. I've got Mr. Spencer with us today, and he is coming to us today from California, just wrapping up Angels Stadion event out there, which looked like an awesome event. And so while we're on the stadion theme, I figured we just carry it forward and talk about the, I guess, the granddaddy of all stadions, right? And that's Fenway Park. So I think first and foremost, I think we gotta talk about Fenway from your perspective. And you've done this event so many times, right? And I think what's your favorite part about Fenway? Why do you like this event there?
Man, yeah. So this is what the. Check me on it, but I think this is the 11th or 12th year we've been there as a company.
Yeah.
And this is now my 8th trip to Fenway, the stadium I've been to the most. It's tight. It's a little bit shorter than most of the other stadiums. We have some different auxiliary parking lots, like registration, for instance, is in a separate parking lot from the stadium. But this is one of the few stadiums that is really in the heart of the city. Like, they don't have big parking lots that are, surrounding the ballpark. Like, you are inside the city the entire time. And you also just think of it as a historical baseball sense of the Green Monster and yes, the Yankees Red Sox series, the game sevens that have been played in Fenway Park, and drawing some of that energy into our event, which has been spectacular. And we do unique things. So Hercules is roped up from the beams inside the ballpark. So it's not built with truss like it's in the ballpark, which is super cool. So
yeah, I mean it becomes part of the park, right? And so I think you summed it up right. Like in that, again, that it's just there. You've been there more than anybody here. And it's Fenway Park. Like there's only two of these places left, right? There's only two places like this left. And when as it relates to, or as you talk about MLB parks, there's Fenway and there's Wrigley Field. That's it. Everything else is newer. Everything else has been renovated and just redone and moved to these, outside the city area, like to these little suburb areas and these, these outlying areas, because they have the space and they can create all that parking. But they've just held true. I mean, again, they're probably the two most iconic parks, right? And so Fenway being, I think, the most iconic park in Major League Baseball because of, again, its location. It's all, I mean, if you've not been there, like when you walk through there, you feel like it's old. Like, you know what I mean? It's new, but it feels like it's got some new things to it, but you can tell it's old, right? It's been there forever. And you said it, the Green Monster. The Green Monster is, it's just part of baseball history. So.
Yep. And we have the racers running right across.
Right across it, right? Yeah, right. And so how often would you get the opportunity to do that if you don't do this race? So if you had to sum up Fenway in one word, I thought of a word myself. But if you had to sum up Fenway in one word, what would you say? What would that word be?
From the ballpark or for our race specifically?
Just the ballpark.
The ballpark, iconic.
Yeah, that was what I said.
Yeah.
Legendary or iconic. I think, you know what I mean. It's, again, there's just nothing like it, right? And even in the realm of stadion events, right? There's just nothing like it, right? I mean, you guys are wrapping up Angel Stadium again, a much more modern stadium. I was out there in LA with you guys at Dodger Stadium, again, much more modern stadiums, right? Expansive parking lots and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely iconic. Not that other parks aren't, right? other parks become iconic. But like I said, in this day and age, to have this park still in its location, and you said it, it's tight, right? There's like, I mean,
It's tight.
this city is just built around it, right? And so it's definitely a challenging event, right? And when we talk about the challenges that come with this, I think the first thing, well, before we get to that, one other note I wanted to bring up, right, and that is for anybody coming to Fenway, right, if they did Barry Mass, right, New England, and if they did Killington, and if they come to Fenway, they're completing the New England Ford series kind of trifecta of events, right? And there's a little bonus swag for that.
Yep. Yeah. So I think the first year we did it, it was a Delta Icon, which was a super, super cool piece of collateral. And I think this year they're actually going to a coin, which I'm super excited to see. I think that's unique. It's different. So yeah, I'm super excited to have Ford on board.
Yeah, so I think for anybody that's done those other two events, right, in that area up there that's traveled in for those, and you're traveling for Fenway, don't forget that when you finish that race, right, you get that little bonus piece of swag, which is nice. So, talk a little bit about the vibe of Fenway, right, in the Spartan at Fenway. What is the vibe like there for people coming into this event?
Yeah. So some of the vibes, it's super cool. So our festival layout is out on the street for most of it, and then they're going to enter into the ballpark. We've got music playing all day. It's busy, which is nice because it's also cold in Fenway in November. So if you live in New England, or if you don't,
Yeah.
prepare for the cold.
Yeah.
It's a chilly race, and those hallways turn into wind tunnels heading out to the start line. So, but the vibes, because it is one of those busier stadiums for us, and there's not a lot of room again to spread people out. It's like one of those just like concert pit area. That vibe is just lively,
Yeah.
So
Is the festival on what? I don't know what. I know they changed the name of the street. It used to be Yawkey or whatever, right? Isn't that the street that it's on?
yep, yep. Now I do believe it's Jersey, Jersey Street,
Okay. Yeah.
um, where we'll have all the festival activations on, which also super cool. We've got a new activation coming that's kind of getting kids back into tennis. So they're going to set up like a small little tennis court right there in the festival area. So that's going to be super cool and different. So
Yeah, that'll be sweet. Yeah, we'll talk about some of those partners because I was looking over the partnerships coming into this event, right? And it's a healthy list for sure. So to your point, I think it's going to be very interactive and a lot to do and a lot to see, right? So allow for some time to do that when you start coming in. I think I don't think we have to spend a lot of time talking about the course, right? The course is what it is. Like it's Stadion, right? So we listen. You're probably if I know Tyler and the team there, you're probably going to touch every step in that ballpark. And if there's a ramp somewhere, you're probably going to touch every ramp somewhere in that stadium, right? So that's kind of the vibe of those when it comes to the course itself. How many obstacles are we looking at for this event, T?
So we're looking at 22 as of right now. Trying to squeeze in one more. We got a couple of different locations that we might be able to sneak something in, a little under the radar. You might not see it on your map. You might just show up on Saturday or Sunday, and boom, you're going to have something else. So
Hint, 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 hint. So, yeah. And again, as always, if it's your first time going out to a stadion event, right? I think for a first timer, it's one of those things. I think the toughest challenge or the biggest challenge isn't the obstacles necessarily that we build. It's the obstacles that the stadium itself is built of, right? And so, hit that stair stepper a few times before you decide to show up and think you're going to dominate the course, right? So,
absolutely.
let's talk real quick about logistics because logistics in this race are pretty critical, right? It's you just can't drive up to Fenway and pay $25 and park in a parking lot. It just doesn't happen that way, right? Tell everybody a little bit about what to expect and the easiest way you would probably say it is to get to this event.
Yeah, so we'll go on two different areas. So if you're flying in don't rent a car. Um, Uber to a hotel close. There's plenty that are right around the stadium that are walking distance. If you don't get one that's walking distance, I still think your best option is to Uber in. Um, like Jason was saying, there's not a lot of parking around the stadium. There are a couple of different parking apps that the Boston area has, the Park Hero and stuff like that, that you guys can utilize to try to find some spaces around the ballpark. But there's not a lot. There's a couple of public parking areas, but there's still a good, healthy walk away. So if you're driving up, check those out. Do your research. A lot of them you can now prepay for, so you can get ahead of that. Is one of the big things. So I think if you're flying, find a hotel that's close. If you're driving up, look up those parking areas that are going to get you close, and then either walk the rest of the way or catch an Uber close.
Yeah, I mean, Boston's got a massive public transportation system, right? And so, including the Ubers and the Lyfts and things of the world now. And so, yeah, it saves so much time and so much headache. And it's probably cheaper than finding that parking place somewhere, right? Because, parking in the big city like that, you're gonna pay, and that's really the only thing that you can think about. So. So coming in race day morning, I'm gonna jump on some public transportation. I'm gonna get off at the stadium. What's the best tip you could give runners coming out for this weekend's event to make things smooth as possible in the morning?
Yeah, so normally I'd say show up about an hour ahead of time for most stadiums. Here I'm gonna tell you, come in about an hour and a half. Like I said, registration is out in the parking lot. Then you're gonna walk across the street. You still got to get through Fenway security. So give yourself that extra buffer, and then you're able to kind of enjoy more of the festivities before you get in there. Make sure you stretch. It's going to be cold, so prepare yourself there. And then
we'll talk about
once
that in a
it's
minute.
your scheduled time.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll speak to the weather here in a second, but one of the things I do recall, and I think it's kind of an item worth talking about at all of our stadium events. Right? Stadiums have very specific bag policies, right? Like you just can't walk in with your ruck and a big backpack and a duffel bag with all your stuff for everything all day in it. What is Fenway like when it comes to a bag policy, and what would you recommend to people?
Yeah, so thankfully for Fenway, we do an outdoor bag check before heading into the stadium. So if you do public transportation or you're flying in, we've got a spot for you before you come in, so you can bring the things that you would like to. Inside of the stadium, though, they are going to follow the MLB's policy. I don't know the sizes specifically for this, but you can look it up. We'll have it in your race day program, so you guys can follow that, because they're not going to go off of their policies. So they're pretty stern.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, again, which I think is the case what we see at most of the stadiums, right, that we go to, right? It's a safe bet is the MLB's policy, because that's what we have to go by and enforce. So just so somebody doesn't show up thinking they're going to carry everything into the building, there's going to be a little bit of a surprise for you when you get there. So you mentioned this a few minutes ago, and this is what I was ready to get to, because I think it's one of those. It's definitely a point that's worth the conversation. Because at the time of year we are at Fenway, the weather is kind of a crapshoot, man. You just don't know what you're going to get, right? It's November. It's starting to get cold, or it's cold. It can be really cold. You said it. It's windy out there. Any ideas of what to expect this year? I know we're still a little ways out, but what would you call if you were going to make the call right now?
Yeah, I'm dressing warm, 100%. I'm dressing warm, knowing that I can take layers off, knowing if I don't bring them, I'm going to be cold. I think we've only had, in the 8 years I've been there, one warm race day, and warm being, 64,
Okay.
So it's not warm. It's just not, it's not freezing. So I would definitely go with dressing warm.
Yeah, bring it, and you have it if you need it, because if you don't bring it and you need it and don't have it, it makes for a really bad day. I mean, the good thing is I'm sure the merch team will be there with a little bit of swag. You know what I mean? You can buy you a new hoodie if you forget what you want to do anyway, right? We want to make sure that that's the case. But at the end of the day, it's better to come prepared and not need something than to not have it when you do need it. Because yeah, your point's valid. it always shows up as a little chilly at this event. So, all right. So, I mean, I have to say, you've been here enough times. It almost makes you like a Boston local, right? You've spent some time here, right? So if I'm coming in for the weekend, right, and I'm only going to run on a specific day or do something, what am I going to do the rest of the time there? What can I do? What do you recommend? What's your favorite place to get some food to eat around the stadium or in Boston?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously Boston is historic, so you've got plenty of history that you can go dive into. You have to remember it's one of those early states, so there's just so many opportunities to learn something new if you've never been to Boston. On the food thing, something that I'll just another little plug here. The past few years, Loco, the Mexican restaurant right next to the stadium,
Yeah, been
they're
there.
supplying your post-race beverage at the end of the race. They've also supplied us with lunch every day. They have
Nice.
been just a phenomenal partner, and it's great food. And they've been able to mix it up so you're not eating the same thing every day. They're great. So if you get a chance to stop in post race, you're already over there to get your free beverage. Go ahead and dive in and get some tacos. They've got
Yes.
really nice burritos.
Yeah.
They do a really nice taco salad as well. I'm not a huge salad guy, but man, it's a big salad.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah. Anytime we can recommend our partners, right, and again, especially a partner that does as much for us as they have with providing that post-event beverage, and again, get in there and get you some food. Again, a great post-race meal, right? So, and again, if you're out and about in town and you're hanging out, looking at some of the more touristy sides of things, like you can hit up to the north end and get some good Italian food. You can get you a lobster roll, depending on how you like it. So there's a ton of options, and Boston's just a great city. Like, it's a good food city too, right? So I always love going up there, just from the standpoint of finding some of that local fare and enjoying in that part of it, because that's part of what makes the trip worth it. So, all right, let's talk real quick about partnerships that are going to be on site. I'm seeing like U.S. Border Patrol, Rain, Athletic Brewing, Viva, Dry Brew, Vitamin Shop, Oscar Mike, Frog Fuel, Shocks, Simon Says, New England Forge, Spartan Coffee, Mood Brew, Tharos One, Army, Rewind Greens. I don't know if I missed anybody,
Yeah.
but man, I could have.
No, that's the list, and it's growing. So that's
Holy
what's super
cow.
cool is we keep adding more partners. Like I said, Jersey Street's going to be active all day. We're going to have a
Yeah,
couple of them inside the ballpark as well. I think we send two coordinators to this event just because
so much.
just, there's so much going on. It's a blast. Like I said, it's one of the more lively festivals that we have.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I don't know how many of those partners you've got much experience with. One really jumped out to me, and that is, I'm a huge fan of Rewind Greens. They're awesome, and to the point, we bring them. They are one of our partners for Camp Spartan, the kids camp we do in the summertime up at the farm in Vermont, and the kids love it. Right, they actually probably use more rewind greens than they do anything else that they bring from a nutrition standpoint. All the kids get a bag when they show up. All the staff gets a bag when they get there. I always end up taking a bag or two home. But man, for like, if you use greens much, man, it's hit or miss. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get, and it's risky, man, because most cases they're not cheap. Like, have to buy a bag of greens, right? And some of them aren't very pleasant when it comes to taste and the flavor options and things like that. But I will tell you, Rewind Greens impressed me the very first time we had them out for kids camp, and it's definitely one of the better greens that I've tried and still use today. Right, so I definitely love them. So any of those partners on there a favorite of yours?
Yeah, so echoing off what you said, also a great partner. One of my favorites, I think that's it's harder to get into stadiums just because of all the different, partners that stadiums have is having Rain, and being able to pass out energy drinks to the everybody that's there is just super cool. So they're definitely one of the ones that I think is a big hit. And then again, the new activation of the group that's coming in, that's try to revitalize tennis, especially here in the U.S. To have a small little tennis court and people just getting to play tennis while they're at a Spartan race, it's just one of those unique pieces. I think it's gonna be super cool while we're
Yeah,
there.
for sure. We didn't talk about this, but and I'm just asking for the people watching. Is this a 1-day stadium or 2-day?
No, so this is the only current 2-day stadium race. So we'll have packed house on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah,
So
you will. That's
yeah,
and it's 2 days for a reason, right? Because it is crazy from a standpoint of the number of people that will show up out here to do this. And the reason I bring that up now is because before we wrap this up, I wanted to I have to get a plug in for every one of these episodes, right? Is if you're coming out to run, right? It's going to take you it's going to take you, hour, maybe two to get your race in, hang out, enjoy everything, relax, recover a little bit. If you have a little bit of time, hit Tyler and the team up and let them know you want to volunteer, because again, it's like any other stadium race. There's a lot of logistical little nuances that go with these stadion races, and we want to make sure that the experience is amazing for everybody, right? And we can only do that with the volunteers that show up, right? There's a lot of staff that go to this event, but we're never going to have enough staff to supplement or replace the volunteers that come. They're irreplaceable, and so if you're only running 1 day, consider spending the second day out there volunteering, right, before you go out and spend some time around Boston and hang out and see those things, right? So again, not many people can say they get to volunteer and see all the things and the intricacies and the inner workings of Spartan or Fenway in a place like Fenway, right? So I think this is probably one of the more cool and unique volunteer experiences that we have to offer to anybody. Plus, you get some get a free race opportunity out of it, get some swag out of it in addition to your finisher stuff. I mean, makes for an awesome weekend, right?
yep, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, cool. So with that being said, we'll wrap this up. I know you got some things to do. I know you're fixing to be out of California, heading back home. And I'm wrapping up here in Colorado Springs for what I'm here for. So we'll cut this thing short here right now. And any parting words for anybody coming to Fenway before we wrap this thing down?
Yep, last time I'll hammer it home. Dress warm.
Dress
Sounds
warm.
good.
It's the most
Yep.
understated point of the podcast, and they're very easily identifiable, right? They'll be the people standing around shivering, waiting on things to start, or after they finish waiting on a friend to finish, right? So yeah, come prepared. It'll make for a better day, right? It'll make you want to stay and hang out a little bit longer. So awesome. All right, Tyler, I appreciate your time today. Nice job out there with the team at Angels, and when anybody gets out to Fenway that's going out to run or volunteer or hang out, make sure you guys tell Tyler and the team out there, hey, and give everybody a thanks for volunteering and working that event. So, see
Absolutely.
you, Tyler.
Thank you.